Hey guys, today I'm going to be playing as the United States in Hearts of Iron 4 in order to celebrate the upcoming 4th of July, or better known as Independence Day in the United States. So, our goal in this game will just be a normal democratic game where we take out Japan and the Axis. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get started. So, for my starting moves, I plan to start going down the focus tree path that allows me to get rid of the Great Depression, and I also want to set up some garrison in the Pacific, and combine my fleet and move it over to the Philippines. Also with this, we are going to set up our military industry a little bit, and build civilian factories for the first couple years of the game. Something to keep in mind as we go down the New Deal path of the focus tree is that we actually have to have a pretty decent amount of continuous support from Congress to get these focuses done. And we also need to have some support from Congress to be able to do stuff like the Selective Training Act so that we can actually start moving our conscription laws up. So in general, if you see me just going to that clicking like small lobby effort or something like that, that's why. I also choose to take the Neutrality Act instead of Limited Intervention, just simply because I think it'll be easier economically to do the Neutrality Act path, but if you're looking to do like a world conquest or something, Limited Intervention would probably be the best because it would allow you to start justifying war goals and stuff really early on, but we're just doing like a historical game this time, so that's all we need to do is just the Neutrality Act. Now I'm going to use my extra research slots that I've actually gotten from these focuses to actually start researching some tank technologies, because unlike most of my games, I actually decided I'm going to make tanks in this game because why not? You have the economy to do it as America, and I haven't done it in a while, so yeah. Now we've gotten out of the Great Depression, but we're not entirely out of it yet. We still have to get 30% war support in order to actually switch over to civilian economy through the Giant Wakes focus. So while we wait for that, I'm actually going to start building up my military because of the Selective Training Act that we did as a focus. We've actually gotten enough manpower to do that pretty safely. Also, I'm going to set up a naval invasion of Taiwan so that we can easily have a base that we can just immediately invade the home islands from instead of having to do a whole island hopping thing. So the war with Japan will probably be very, very quick. That is, if this plan goes through. And now it's time to actually start militarizing the economy because the Second World War will start soon and we definitely need military factories, and we already have well over enough civilian factories. And now, the giant wakes. On the side, I've also been using, I think, one or two of my research slots to research a bunch of air stuff in order to build some pretty decent planes. So here's a little time lapse of that, and then we'll actually cut to the rise of Germany because the war starts directly after this, and I actually got a pretty cool shot of it, I think. Now it's time to start building some medium tanks. We won't be using them in the war with Japan, but we will be using them in the war with the Axis. For the war with Japan, I will be using the strategic destruction air doctrine instead of what I usually do with the battlefield doctrine, because I want to get a couple of bonuses that you can get from going down that doctrine against the Japanese fleet. Basically, we're going to rely a lot on our carriers to defeat the Japanese. And now, while I was trying to get a good shot of the start of Barbarossa, the Japanese declared war on me. So, it all begins now. The fight with the Japanese fleet was a little harder than I thought it would be, but after defeating a couple of their submarines, we finally get enough supremacy to invade Taiwan. But I'm just going to show the process of fighting their navy a little bit, just to give you an idea of what went down with this. After winning in Taiwan, I get a little overconfident and I split my navy up. I guess the Japanese Navy was on strike force because whenever I engaged one of their smaller fleets, their entire fleet came after me. Now, this was a pretty damaging battle, but it does actually lead to us being able to naval invade Japan because we damaged their fleet enough that the AI put it in a port for repair. Now, with the Battle of Hiroshima over and a pretty secure landing in southern Japan, the Japanese Empire collapses due to not having that much of a defense in the home islands themselves. In the peace deal, I just decided to take a bunch of the Pacific islands that Japan owns and to make a supervised state in most of the home islands. However, because this war didn't last as long as the real life war did, I didn't get much war participation, which means I wasn't able to puppet the entire home island. Which was very annoying to look at because just seeing China randomly own Hokkaido, I don't know, just triggered something in me. And now it's time for me to explain the plan to defeat the Axis. So, we're actually going to be able to defeat the Axis in like a year's time being at war with them. So, let me explain. What we're going to need is one full field marshal army of 5 armies, which would be 120 divisions, and then we need 4 armies of 24 divisions for another field marshal order, and the tanks. So what we're first going to do is actually invade Italy. And we're not going to do something like invade Sicily or something like that. We're just going to strike right through the core of Italy in Rome. And so after that, we're going to then head after the Germans with just a usual D-Day, but we're going to actually use the tanks for some special operations there in order to make sure that we actually have the supply. And the reason that we're taking out Italy first is not just simply because we get a puppet there, it's also because we get another front line against the Germans to be able to basically attack them on 2 fronts in France and quickly liberate France, meaning that they don't really have much time to move their troops over from the Eastern Front to the Western Front. So, with all of that explained, I hope you enjoy this little time lapse of the war. Now here comes that tank operation I was talking about. We're going to use our tanks to take over Brest because I kind of assumed that it was going to be pretty hard to push through. So, our tanks will help us break through in Brest, and then we'll actually set them on a front line in the northern part of the Western Front to basically do a spearhead, not a literal spearhead attack, but a hard offensive to just break through the northern part of Germany. This will get us to Berlin a lot faster than if we didn't do this. Now, with Germany defeated, I actually decided to puppet Western Germany as well as having my Italian puppet take over the rest of Italy. So we pretty much get everything in this peace deal, actually. We don't get the minor countries like Hungary or Romania, but we're left with a pretty dominant USA in just 1943. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like, or maybe subscribe.